nailed a good point. He is one of the best players in the world. All-Stars showed that, where he tied almost so close for first when it went down to first versus second. And obviously, he ended up losing that one out to Tayson in that final shot moment. But if we kind of look back, this rivalry's still going on at this point because they've been contesting each other in the Qualifier 1. That's what we saw, those two going head-to-head, going up against each other. But this time, Tayson hasn't managed to qualify through. So I don't know who else is going to be landing there specifically, but they don't have one of the biggest threats of Tayson and Thomas HD to go up against in that drop spot. You've got to think, even while being contested against one of the best teams in the world, they placed 15th in Qualifier 1. So they were still doing really strong coming out of that drop spot while being contested in that situation. They have free now, you know, things are looking super good for them today.
Dude, I really do hope so, man. I want all these duos to do so well, right? I just want to have a finals where everyone can participate, but it's not quite that easy, right? We need to narrow this down to the very best of the very best. But now you did kind of mention a name, and I want to circle back to this duo right now. Benjifish and Mr. Savage landing at Tilted Tower, but they're going up against Deciptos. How do we feel about this, POI? Do we think this is going to be contested a lot? I mean, obviously, center of the zone here has a lot of opportunities for chest spawns, loot spawns, and even materials to be gained. But guys, this is a very scary POI, especially like now, specifically in Qualifier 2. If you know that all these other duos are saying, look, this is our shot, we want to land Tilted Towers, we want to take this over. I mean, what can we expect out of this?
I'm just being real. If you were here during Qualifier 1, I said when, you know, we saw DKS's trio there, that they're lucky that the best tilted team isn't in the qualifier. And the team I was talking about was Benji and Savage. I think when it comes to off-spawn at tilted, they are the most impressive. The things I see from them in terms of the basic fundamentals of understanding of how to dominate a drop, the way they claim loot, gather information, and then when it comes to the actual engagements against their opponents, regardless of who it is, I think these guys are really on top. So look, Kinzel Deciptos, great duo, but I'm putting my money on Benji and Savage here.
I'm with you. But to be honest, I'm also in a slightly different circumstance because I haven't seen Kinzel go up against Benji. When I've seen them in the same lobby, they're taking different loot paths and they're disengaging. Since I have seen Benji and Savage be a lot more aggressive in that drop spot, but the thing that's actually concerning me is there going to be a third team there, right? That's what we've seen pretty commonly in tournaments so far. And if that's the case, then where are they landing? If they land on that south side, potentially cutting off some of Benji and Savage's loot, they're going to get into that difficult engagement at that point, and then that could mess them up. Kinzel could third party, the teams from around could third party, and it could become a mess. But if there's just the two teams there, I don't see them butting heads and actually getting into any engagements off spawn because they just don't need to. There's so much loot.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, I just have this feeling that we're going to see other duos landing Tilted Towers. It's just so, like, high risk, high reward. And the highs are so valuable, right? The low is obviously, like, we're eliminated. We have to kind of wait until this next match to try again. But if you can make it out of there, it's just such a valuable POI. And we'll just set your duo up for the end game. But I'm hoping it doesn't get too out of hand. We'll see. We don't have to wait that much longer to find out. One last duo to throw your way. It's Camp Cuddle. You got to take a look at Malabuka versus Shemeki. Guys, I feel like I have not been able to wrap my mind around Camp Cuddle as like a POI. I just feel like for me, I'm missing something. What insights do you guys have about this POI?
All right, my true insight into this POI, if Malabuka and Sasha there, stay away. Just stay away. just stay away.
That's it.
Look, we think Shmeki's duo may look to contest or may look to at least, you know, grab some of the loot, right, Reese? But in terms of actually fighting Malabuka and Mustache, come on, you know better than that, man. Let's not even entertain it.
These are pro players we're talking about. They understand the landscape. They know the players they're up against. Malabuka and Mustache are easily been able to dominate drop spots like this before. We've seen them multiple seasons before getting in deep into engagements. They're not the kind of team you just want to pick a fight with, right? So we did see there that Shmeki's team's probably going to land to the south side and try and loot the house that's on top of the hill, which will take away 5 or 6 chests from the 27 that Malabuka and Mustache will have access to. But 27 minus the 5 or 6, still plenty for 2 players right now. We may see this engagement, but if we don't see it, I still think both teams could really come out of this pretty well.
You look, if you want to know what it's like fighting Malabuka and Mustache off spawn, just go a bit east and you can ask Benji and Savage. They'll tell you a lot about that one. You know what I mean? So hopefully there isn't any too much funny business going on there.
Just stay away from the left side of the map. You want to be in a competitive Fortnite, just left side of the map, just ignore it. Just don't worry about it until you get to that caliber player where you can go head to head with them. Not worth it, at least for now. Guys, we have another content piece to throw your way. This one's called the Fortnite Effect. Let's see what it's all about.
I first started playing Fortnite back in 2018.
I think my brother, some of his friends was playing it.
I started playing it like since really the start, like first season.
I started playing in season 3.
A friend told me about it and I was like, that's probably like a kid's game.
We tried it and we thought it was fun and we kept playing it.
Like after the second or third game, I was full into it.
It's just like completely different game. It's a battle royale with building mechanics.
You could build and then edit the buildings.
The game was very good. There was no game like Fortnite.
There's so many cool items in the game.
And there still are no games like Fortnite.
I think every like pro player in like any game has like this competitive drive, you know?
For me, like knowing that I can always improve.
You wanna be on the leaderboards, you wanna perform good.
So I just want to get better and better and better.
Just go Fortnite. Just you shoot people, you build, and you try and win the game. Make sure the storm doesn't catch you.
It's a battle royale with a completely different mechanics from all the other games.
It's the first game where you really can like build and you can outplay the opponent with just by building.
If I knew it was gonna become this big, I would probably try it harder, put more time in it.
2 years ago, no one thought about the things you could do now.
First started on controller, but when I changed the keyboard, I'll put like F1 or F2 and F3. And like if I wish like I did like a good keyboard back then.
Even stream at the beginning, because if you were a really good player and streamed, everyone was watching you back then. So everyone wanted to become good in Fortnite.
Fortnite effect. Just another opportunity, right, to talk with the players so you at home can get to see their faces. You can learn about them and say, hey, I'm a ride or die for that person right now. And that's why, for me, it's always going to be Stompy. I'm a big fan of him. He's a great guy. Really quickly, let's touch on predictions because the battle bus is almost ready to go. We got to talk to these duels we think could end up in that top 8. Remember, top 8 is that bar we want to cross to auto qual into finals. I'm kicking us off. I got Joe and Vino. I mean, once again, I kind of mentioned it not that long ago, the 2 15 bombs in a row, followed by a 14 elimination game. I mean, these guys are on fire. 11 to K. You change it up, though. Mr. Savage and Benji Fishy. The crowd
yeah, look, I'll be real. This is more so just like the hope, you know. I'm also,
feel it.
I'm also just, it's more so like, you know, I like to be very analytical here and give you the team I really think is the best possible team in all of you, but this is also just like the team I really want to see in the finals because I think they have a lot of potential and I think they've shown such high moments already that if they can translate that into these lobbies, it'll be great.
Jason also wasn't here, so he didn't know who to predict. I went with Andlex and X3s as well. Mentioned why they're so good earlier. Malabuka, Mustache, I went with, and then Boop obviously went with Stormer and Kirachi. We've actually covered all 3 of these teams already. They're fantastic. Let's be real. One of us is going to be right. Someone probably more right than the others, though.
You know, it might be you, Reese, but who knows? It might be Boop coming in. Remember, it's his first time here in Chapter 3, Season 1. He was on the analyst desk not that long ago, but now he's taken to the caster desk with Shy Wager. So, friends, let's go say hello to Boop and Shy Wager.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Levin, and Reese. I mean, if you like their voices, I feel like I just heard them 2 days ago, and you like watching amazing Fortnite, then welcome to Qualifier 2 of the FNCS. Before we get into the awesome action, I have to introduce the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who runs EU Pro Level Practice, and a certified intellectual genius, Boop NL. Boop, how you doing, man? What are your expectations for the FNCS today?
I am so excited to be here, Shayo. You are my new best friend, apparently, because you and Reese and Levin, it's all over now, so I'm happy to be here. I'm kind of sad to be known as the practice guy. I think I have a little bit more than that. You know, I've done a few coaching things. I'm a little bit of an analyst, but I'm excited, and there's a lot of good players today in the games that, you know, we're going to be looking at. So me and you, we're going to do great today.
Yeah, we'll throw it down. I mean, there's so many titles that, you know, I have to sort through for you. I just threw 2 at the wall and made them sound hopefully good enough. But yeah, you're doing a lot on the scene, and now you get to just break down some of the best duels you've been watching. And right before we get into it, we just have to take a little bit of the breather. It'll be game number 1, and it's starting right now. And here we go. It was just 2 days ago where we saw a lot of hot action, so many things going down to the final wire. Pablo qualifying off of a win in the 6th game. That means anyone has a chance in qualifier number 2. Every game matters, and every elim will change your destiny. Right now, we're dropping hot into Tilted. Many teams here at Boop and Savage Benji, a hot name. They're going to be one of them.
Yeah, and these guys have, it looks like they're uncontested right now. They do have, unfortunately for them, DKS and Badsap, who are qualified to the finals immediately of last week. But now, it's their time to shine. And, DKS and Badsap, if they qualified from this spot on Con last week, then it's Savage and Benji. They have to show that they can do it too in order to be a worthy opponent.
Yeah, what's the difference kind of with Savage and Benji and these round 2s versus round 3s? It feels like they can build momentum a lot easier facing a lot of different random teams of the 400 that are playing. Now when it's like 2-on-2, how do things change for this duo?
Yeah, this duo is pretty aggressive. They do really, really well in those semifinals. I mean, they did so amazing. They got first in the Opens in week number 1. The week thereafter, they got 7th. I mean, yesterday they got 7th in the Opens as well. In the semifinals, they got 123rd in the previous session, and now they did Super 1. They did actually make it to the final for once. So, they're sort of figuring it out. I think, these guys haven't been doing too much practice as far as I've seen, but, they have that experience. These guys have been playing with each other for such a long time, since World Cup times, and I'm excited to see them here, because, everyone loves to see Benji and Savage do well.
Yeah, absolutely. Ask like any player on the street, any fan, usually Benji's like the first, word on their mouth as to who you're a fan of, who you're rooting for. Right now we also got Rotary and Q-Roll, 2 names that are also kind of endemic to the EU scene. We see them popping up every now and then. When it comes to that legendary status, I still feel like they're trying to rise to that occasion and go for it, right?
Yeah, and I'm surprised there's actually 2 teams landing over the boat here. I mean, I haven't seen a single duo actually try to claim this boat. It's honestly one of the worst spots I've seen on the map, mainly because you're very isolated in the water, right? And you can see this happening here. Malibuca very close by from that Camp Cuddle side, and they're just going to camp you for Surge. You're just isolated in the water. You can't really do too much, and, with 2 teams there, I don't know what these guys are thinking, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, time management as well, right? Whenever you're in a bad spot, you have a few more teams, it kind of just impacts and starts to roll over to different points of the game. They're mid-game, probably toss 2 right now. They don't even feel or know it yet.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look at the match, 23 builds in total. They do have 4 peppers and the flopper as well, but all gray weapons. It's not looking too good from them. And I see Malibuca and Mercer still peeking out from that gas station side. It looks like they did not have an early game fight with their team that was contesting them of Smeki. As we move over towards, I believe this is Condo Canyon. Yes, Andalex trying to get involved here with another team right next to them.
Yeah, this job's not too forgiving when you actually start to get shot and end up in a bad spot. There's not too many places to escape from. Andalex trying to go for a sneaky one, but does miss. That blind shot, unfortunate. Executes on the top side, a little bit 2v1, blocked off the ramp inside the box. Andalex is in a lot of trouble. It's a blender, but the settings look to be kind of weird. Doesn't matter. Both players eliminated in an instance. It's Hookah and Zestin. Boop. I mean, they just showed up and they're ready to play.
Yeah, Hookah and Zestin, this is a duo I've seen a lot from practice-wise. They were doing super well against Kiriachi and Stormright as well, who used to land Condo Canyon. Vidil and Wiesen, also mortal enemies of Hookah and Zestin. And, I'll be honest, these guys, I've seen them storm fight for a good 10 minutes inside of Condo Canyon before, so they are not ready to give it up. And they're showing up today up against Andalex there.
Absolutely, and a lot of the times when it is in practice, right, those storm fights are to kind of send a message or claim that POI. You need to have a little bit of balance of that now too, because only 6 games to play, every single one matters so much. You have to really know, do you really want to secure the spot, or are you trying to go for that win?
Yeah, for sure. And you don't really want to give up that spot. I mean, if you play passive in game number 1, this is sort of like the feeler out, right? You want to be feeling out your opponents. Usually the first game, as we saw in the last finals, was very unstacked. This one is a little bit better. 86 people still left alive. But, you're going to have to try to feel it out. You want to see where people are landing. You're going to adapt. You're going to go back into replays, take a look at where they're landing. And you do not want to be going towards that south side of Condo, Shayo.
Yeah, I mean, feeling it out exactly is what every player wants to do, and Q-Roll Rotary are now probably feeling pretty bad because you mentioned that boat drop contested, Rotary now down. I think I've seen Q-Roll in this position with a different team or a different player so many times. He does have that clutch factor, the kind of the clutch gene to get his team back into the game, but even then, these guys have a huge uphill battle.
Yeah, and he's going to be running into Covert Canyon very close by there. It's a little bit scary for him because I believe Veno and Joe are uncontested. We did mention in the analyst desk, Tace and Thomas AG not qualifying this week, unfortunately. Didn't even of all of us, and just goes to show that, it can happen to the best of us. You just got to be consistent. As we move over to Cyrox here, he is hiding. There's 2 players here that they're sniffing him out, and I think he's safe so far, but this is a scary proposition.
I don't even think his teammate's eliminated yet, so I'm wondering where Flawless is right now to try to come and help him. But this is going to be trouble, and I'm pretty sure this team knows exactly where he is. The biggest issue right now is the fact that he has no mats. So I think this is also a very good spot because it's kind of, in the dark, in the shadows. It's huge, but it is also one of the mats that people love farming, these huge rocks, right? Like, no matter what happens here, I would assume Nico and Vang might want to go up here and get their brick up, but it looks like they're getting their funny comedic timing up instead. as well. Vang's actually just moving out. Nico's not going to bother with this hunt. And it looks like Cyro's looking good.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's kind of a worthwhile strategy sometimes in this meta to camp cards. Like, Storm Surge, as you noticed last week as well, was a very tough thing to have. You know, if you can get both eliminations early on to the fight, that's at least a good 200 damage if you're just including white health. If you're including shield, that's upwards of 400. So you can even camp card, and even if you do tank a lot of white health in Storm, that's completely fine because there's no reason for you to rotate that early, right? The reason why a lot of these teams are rotating quickly is because they do need Storm Surge. But in that position, you can camp the card. You can be kind of a rude boy and destroy other teams' chances. And yet again, this is sending another message to the team that landing nearby. Hey, don't mess with us because we're going to be camping your card and we're here to play.
Yeah, Jox and Skyzoo rolling in, eliminating one of the teams that did have the lead a little bit in terms of eliminations. They're going to be looking at what they want to do. And right now I can kind of see that game one Fortnite effect kind of happening where a lot of teams are kind of scuffed. Teammates going down early, fights they might not want to be planned a part of. Right now, looks like Link's also in a little bit of trouble. His teammates down. He's gonna have to 1v2, expending a lot of materials to keep that high ground, but against two players, it's gonna be oh so difficult. He's in a little bit of a rough spot. Pump shot, damage done. The SMG can't even get you out of this one, my friend. Yeah, Link's gonna go down.
Valiant effort there, my friend. But interesting to see again, you know, a lot of aggression coming out of Chonka Speedway. Last week, there were 3 teams contesting it. I believe there's only 2 this time, with Lechi and Fast Kali landing here, but so far not that much aggression out of the teams actually landing in Chonkers, but I believe Victorina and Jikes here are landing out just outside of it and trying to third party to get metal there.
Yeah, we're talking about job slots. I want to even pull a little bit north if we saw this fight actually breaking down. Wait a minute, I thought it'd be a little bit of a slow burn. Chapix, unfortunately, taking a lot of damage, and this is what ends up happening. I feel like every time I watch this duo, it's one little mistake that makes their good position to go absolutely disastrous. Jumped into the box. Chapix is down. It's up to Seti, and he misses the first shot from the shotgun, but has that MK7 just rattling away. He gets the trade 1 for 1, but now he's out of shield. This is trouble. Launch padding away. He'll try to reset. Double sprayed. It's a whole new duo coming in.
Yeah, and I think he probably should have gotten that finish there on that body. I'm not really sure. He only has 2 builds there in total, so he has to play off of that Siphon elimination. But he, you know, he's a pro player, so he might know best, has to use that launch pad to get out of there. But right now, you're giving up that control, right? And if you don't get that finish on that body, the other player there is going to be able to pick him back up, and they're both going to be camping on your card. And that is Janus and Vortex nearby. Those guys are so aggressive. And Vortex, you know, he is a ridiculous player. We've seen him do super, super well in solo cash cups. You know, he's jumping into boxes all the time, and he's coming in for the third party, and he sniffs out Seti very close by, but Seti's, you know, he's swimming away.
The Elam just came through inside the feed, so Vortex even knows exactly who it is in terms of Seti getting that elimination. So it's going to be vital information in terms of knowing how Seti plays, what he wants to do. We'll have to see exactly if Seti can get it back. The good thing about Seti right now is he has 2 med misses in total. That's like, what, more than almost 2 minutes inside one of that first storms. He's going to be able to just chill out for so long. Actually drops 1 for 6 chuck splashes, maybe to get his teammate back on HP. But we'll watch that fight drop down as well. How did Seti get the other elimination? He actually ends up stealing it, so it wasn't even the confirmation from the other side. This man, it's just lethal. We've been seeing some crazy stuff. Last days, it was just what? Thomas HD with the crazy beams in the sky. This time, Seti's active and online.
I mean, Seti has that experience. You know, when he back in the old days in the other map, he used to land in that Cammy split. And, you know, he took turns with Cammy landing on top of that pylon, shooting at plays at Dirty Dog. So that track and AR coming through yet again. But I wanted to note there that Seti, you know, he has the 2 eliminations. So that's actually a very good thing because you have to remember, Storm Surge is still a factor. There's still 78 people left alive, I believe. And because he has both eliminations, they don't need to hurry up. They don't need to force anything. He can take his time. There's 5 minutes on these Rubik cards still, so he can take his time to go through, Charo.
Yeah, there's a huge potential for a good game here for Seti as well. 2 launch pads. He wants to get Chapix back. He wants to make the end game. They're so rare and difficult to come by, and they just changed the entire game to have your team get a little bit more control overall.
Yeah, and you need to be careful, though, because this zone isn't the best for you when you want to reboot. There's not that many options. Obviously, you have the reboot van to the west there, but you also have the reboot van in Sleepy. But the issue, if the zone does push Sleepy, where are you going to pick up your boy?
Yeah, I mean, there's not too many vans that are kind of low-key entirely. We'll see exactly what Seti can do, but this duo is what I wanted to talk about, and one that you're really hyped on. Boop, Stormy Wright and Kiriachi coming in from Logjam Lumberyard. I mean, why do you predict them to do so well today?
Yeah, these guys, they got 14th last final. You know, they're a very aggressive duo. I think they have some of the best synergy I've ever seen. Obviously, 2 FNCS winners again from trios. And take a look at the quick stat there. They finished first in both previous qualifier rounds of this qualifier. So, you know, they're coming in with a lot of momentum. And I feel like they've learned the mistakes of last time. Unfortunately, they don't have the surge strategies down yet. But, you know, they had a whole finals of experience last week to do it. So I have faith for them.
Yeah, I mean, I like that word that you tagged this team with, momentum, but I feel like it's a double-edged sword for them as well. If their game 1 and 2 doesn't, you know, rile up very fast, I feel like they tend to go to sleep. Like, they don't actually show up for the rest of the game. So this should be a very important game for them. It's literally in their hemisphere. They kind of have the home zone entirely as to where they get to play. They have so much info on the map. Joe and Vino, too. I mean, you're talking about momentum. They were looking so good in the previous rounds of last qualifier. They're here again to break things down, and this time, their drop spot doesn't look that contested either.
Yeah, it looks like they weren't contested at all. If you take a look at Vano's inventory, that confirms that 2 launch pads in total. Getting that out of the vault there, you know, that is more than enough than what you need in this end game. Obviously, the Surge is looking like a pretty good spot as well. They have that mountain near Shifty, which is actually surprising that they're able to get there as quick as they are. Because, you know, Cover Canyon, it takes such a long time to loot compared to some of the other POIs. I believe this mountain is claimed by Pink a lot of the time. I've seen him rotate to that spot very, very quickly with quad crashes prior, but unfortunately, quad crashes not really that used nowadays, as we see Chapix instead of getting rebooted. And, you know, this is a far reboot. So, like I mentioned before, like, they're not going to be able to find a very good spot to refarm the metal. This house right below Chapix here does provide you with a good amount of metal, but it's pretty slow, and you don't have too much white heals here to heal up.
Hopefully going to be opening a few random chests, getting some bad miss out of them, maybe even getting a few splashes or 2. Pena and Volko, though, they'll be moving in the actual action. No storm chasing here from this duo. Sleepy Sound, we're expecting a lot of contestation from different teams. And now we're seeing that these guys are going absolutely to the skies. And the fight is the limit, apparently. Pena does not care about how to play this game. He just wants to go in and deal damage, rather trap inside someone else's box, drop people down. Julex is gone just like that. There's no way Chico does get the trade. He's not out yet, but no, Pena gets him too. Is that allowed? Have you ever seen someone do that this season?
I mean, Chico and Julex there get the chapter 3 classic, and the single SMG right into the box there. And you know, who needs a Storm Surge plan where you can just jump to a box like that? Easy done. That's wraps there for Chico and Chulix, unfortunately. Interesting note there, Shayo. They are getting coached by Queasy today. Queasy did qualify last qualifier, sorry. And, you know, knowing Queasy's reaction, he's probably not very happy about that either. Having his team just getting jumped on by a double SMG. Looks like Malabuka here. He's right next to another team, and they're getting tagged by Surge. Hard find. Obviously, a controller player, so he's going to be struggling with those long-range tags. Nova as well right next to him, but Malabuka, I mean, he smells blood here. He hears it, but actually, it might not be these guys that are getting tagged, Shayo.
Yeah, it might be someone right above them. Yeah, I think it's literally someone beside them.
Yeah.
These players obviously can't hear the tags themselves. They can hear the shield cracks when they happen, but back and forth, here we go. Jumping in, Malabuka, they just know timing so well. They know exactly how to survive, when to strike, and now that Storm Surge changes straight towards Nova. There's the double pump shot right there. It's so simple for Mustache and Malabuka.
Yeah, I don't looking at Malabuka's loadout here, I'm not too happy with it, I'll be honest. That purple Ranger assault rifle is very good for long-range Storm Surge tags, but as you saw there, he struggled to jump into the box. You definitely want an MK7, and there you go. Malabuka does swap it out. There you go. It's almost like an analyst, you know? I mean, there you go. He switches it out. You know, you want that high fire weapon, especially where you don't need any much surge nowadays. You know, they jumped to the box there, they got all the surge. They're pretty much fine until that first moving. And there you go. Malabuka, the only player with 10 eliminations in a single game during Qualifier 1, Round 3 in NES, NOS, or EU. And I'm not surprised, Shayo.
Yeah, I mean, across the whole world, this man is the guy in terms of just going in, making sure every shot is perfect and lands at the best times. I just feel like, once again, timing is so good for this duo, or even, you know, in the past seasons, trios when they're playing together. But right now, although the timing might be right, the build's a little bit incorrect in moving in, and they have an entire wall to pass. Clement and Floki right in front of them, leader on the left side as well, with Irazumi coming in what, 50th place overall. So they're ready, they're looking to go, and Floki is also driving straight in.
Now, this is a pretty tough zone for them to rotate in on, and especially when you're late. I mean, I'm expecting the zone to pull right towards Sleepy Sound side, and there's a lot of little hills and boxes that people are going to be basing up on. Luckily for them, there's not a team holding out this edge, so they should be able to get in for free here. But if this zone does tend to pull northeast, they're going to be in a very tough spot, especially with that reboot coming out.
Yeah, and the different types of flavors from teams are going to be prevalent here too. Storm Surge is the big thing. If you don't have enough damage dealt, the server will start to deal damage to you. A bunch of teams already know how much damage they kind of have or need to do, and right now, depending on that, some teams might be a little bit more aggressive, others a lot more passive.
Yeah, and if for those of you that don't know, after we get a reboot going in, after Storm Surge has already popped, you're going to have Storm Surge reactivate as soon as this zone starts closing. So 71 people left alive here. You're going to have a few teams not expecting this because, you know, it is a little bit scary, but luckily for them, Castry goes down to Bevies and Vortexia. And, you know, we're not going to get the reactivation of Storm Surge as zone does actually pull towards those northern mountains. So everyone on the south side, you know, I'm feeling bad for the Chonkers team because this has been a full sprint and marathon across the map.
Yeah, they've just had to just keep going up, and up, and it's mountains they have to deal with as well. Every team's gonna be focused on this position, but also on dealing damage and making sure they don't go down. I mean, this is just so tough. With elevation in the mix boop, it's so rough to find a good spot to kind of, you know, hide and base out.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. As we saw, Venno also going down very early on here, so not able to have that first good game. Covert Canyon uncon, but sometimes, you know, everything could go perfect and you could just have, you know, like Chico and Trulix, so you could just have a team right next to you that needs Surge and then your game is ruined, unfortunately. So maybe that's what happened to Venno and Joe here. And Venno, I have seen him clutch out a lot. You know, when he used to play trios with Shadow and Benji Fisher, sorry, he was the clutch master every single time in solo cash because my man, as a solo, will clutch up top 5, top 4s consistently. He is one of the most ridiculous up-and-coming players. And I say up-and-coming, you know, very lightly because I don't think a lot of people give him credit, you know. Joe is considered by a lot of pros to be one of the best creative fighters, one of the best fighters in the game. But, you know, by the majority of people that, you know, follow competitive Fortnite, you know, he might not be someone that you really know. So I want to give credit to him because my man is ridiculous.
Absolutely. Always putting on a show no matter what team he's on as well, and that clutch factor is the big reason why. Floki and Clement, though, I mean, they're probably hot off the press from last qualifier. They really want to make sure this is the one where they lock it in. And you can already see the struggles. This is heavy metal on all sides, still getting sprayed out across the lines. It's so tough for even the best teams in the closest spots to get inside the zone.
Yeah, and luckily for them, they're 400 above Surge, all the way from Chonka's side, so I did mention how far they had to rotate, but the Surge is solved, and here we go, Venno and Joe. Joe, 29 below, and he's going to get sprayed up by multiple players, and oh no, he goes down early on, and that is not how you want to start your FNCS finals with Uncon Covert Canyon, Shayo.
Not at all. It's going to be Irazumi, though, with Leader, who pick up 2 launch pads, and then Malabuka's here with 2 as well. So we have almost all the rotation on the south side of the map for the whole lobby. They've had a tough time getting in the zone now, but they can all just end up using these pads together to push themselves even further into the zone. Malabuka and Mustachio, notice the number on the right, the damage threshold, 116 above. It seems good right now, but yes, as you can see, that number can quickly dwindle away down to just 2 digits, maybe even all the way to 1. Flawless goes down. Jox is getting Blaka as well. Parmy falling inside the feed. It's Clement and Floki, who are just absolutely tearing up every build with shot after shot. 5 eliminations and 400 damage almost above the threshold before we even start the end game.
Yeah, and I want to go back to Malabuka and Mustache there. If you looked at their inventory prior, they had the Spider-Man, they had the 2 launch pads. So even though they're only 100 above Surgery into half and half, first moving, the way that you sort of play this loadout is you launch pad towards front side of zone, you box up, and then you wait. So they're going to be able to get a lot of tags on players depending on how the zone pulls. But I won't be worried for them because they're going to be more than likely above Surge. Is Kiko and Marshia. Only one more person needs to be eliminated as the kill feed's going crazy. 24 above. It's so close. No one's really going to be jumping to the boxes though because everyone thinks surely one more person goes down. Surely it's not going to be me that's going to tick below.
And that's always the situation, but then no one ends up falling. It becomes very drastic. 42 damage in total there for Mashi. Very nice. This is such a good angle to be able to land a few shots, but he misses left and right a little bit. Will it matter? We'll see in just a second. Benji picking up Vang. He's still on the feed too.
Yeah, Marsh and Kiko, they were contested in the last finals. So the Surge, obviously, you know, the Surge tried to this time I believe they're uncon. As you see, they have 0 elimination. So they're sort of figuring it out, you know, trying to find something different. It's so tough for you to go into a different kind of mindset, Shayo, because if you're so used to being contested, then you know, we don't need to think about Surge. We don't need to think about boxing up and getting tags. And we see that, you know, struggling just a little bit as Clement and Floki now going to get taken out 5 elimination for these guys. So, you know, that's already 18 points in total. So it's not a lost game, even if Clement goes down here. But surely he should be fine with 10 chug splashes here in his inventory.
unless he gets trapped before he gets to use them. Lots of pressure on his boxes, and he's all out of hard mats. Just wood. That can quickly get absolutely set ablaze and taken away. Clement has to keep splashing. This is not the quietest heal that gets used. You'll notice the players might only even hear one footstep. He's gonna have a tough time hiding in this box.
And this zone is absolutely disgusting, Shayo. Push straight across the water, away from congested side of zone. This is not going to be fun for any of these players. Hopefully you're going to be able to use your relose a launch pad, but if you're on that backside of zone and there's no one with a launch pad, you're going to be drowning.
Absolutely, and the big thing too, there's not two big skyscrapers, not many communities of bases built right now. It's all just one big amalgamation of boxes. Everyone's going to start to spread like a virus around on their rotation. They might end up clashing with each other. There's not going to be that much information to be gathered as well, duo to duo. And right now, Benji's kind of abusing that fact. The fact that people can't see him and Savage diving into every box, just absolutely wrecking the competition. And they already have a few eliminations before they get going. Now they're inside the sky. Match are looking very fine as well. They actually get such a good portion of the zone down low ahead of everyone else.
And it's such a beauty to watch Benji and Savage. I mean, these guys could probably play without any comms and they could still do super, super well. You know, they